Hey everyone, welcome. It is day one of 28 Days of Love. And we have our very special guests, Demetrius and Candace Henderson. Stay tuned and let's go.
Welcome, everyone
to 28 Days
Day
of
one, baby.
Love.
Oh, I missed it.
You were supposed to sing it with me. Come on.
Cue.
28 Days of Love. That's right.
You heard that octave? I hit that high note.
Welcome to
Welcome.
our 28 Days of Love. This is day one. First couple. Amazing couple. The hen. You're supposed to say the middle part. And together. Sons. That's like an explosion. Let's do it again. The hen. Sons. That's right.
In all honesty, this is a power couple.
Yes.
And I'm going to go, you know what? I can't wait any longer.
Put them in.
I can't wait any longer. Let's bring them in. Bring them on in. All right.
How are y'all?
Hello. So everybody, these are our dear friends. We met them in San Diego. And you know, the Lord just picks people up and moves them across the map. And he does whatever he wants to do with them when you are willing. And these are our friends from San Diego. We love them.
Yes,
they are great examples of covenant love.
Yes.
Not a perfect everything, but that covenant love that stands the test of time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's not perfect, but
well, you know.
I don't know what's not perfect.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Well,
none of us.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
That's what they tell me. Like on Martin, Pretty Ricky. That's what they call me.
So we want to introduce you to our friends, the Hendersons. They're opening up the 28 Days of Love for us this year. We're so excited. By design.
We wanted them to be first.
To be first to share today. So we want you to get your pens, your pencils out, your markers, your paper, whatever you need, your journals. You can go on Amazon and get your seasonal journals for winter, because this is the winter spiritual seasons that we are going to receive some good old. That's my books. One of my books. I wrote 4 journals, and we are in the winter season months. They're called the spiritual season. So I want you to get your journal. If you don't have it, make sure you order it. But this is so that you can write down notes and good feedback, especially for those of you who are looking to be married, or for those of you who are married and you're just like not sure what's going on. You feel like you're by yourself. No, we all have different seasons in our relationship. Need an upgrade. You mean a refresher?
Refresh, okay.
Yeah, we don't upgrade now. We keep what we got.
Upgrade yourself.
Upgrade yourself. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen,
that would sound kind of crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Hendersons.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. We didn't even say your names, did we?
We want you to tell us.
You said the Hendersons.
Yeah, I know, because
that's just like a brand.
Yeah,
it's a brand.
Like Nike. You know what I mean? The Hendersons. That's what I'm talking about.
So can you go ahead and tell us your names and a little bit about yourselves?
And do this. Tell us how you met.
Yeah, do that too.
Well, my name is Demetrius Henderson. I guess for the question of how we met, we actually met at work in Atlanta, Georgia.
ATL. In the A.
And this is my wife, Candace Henderson.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at
Candace camera shy, right? Camera shy. But don't get her in person, boy. It's gonna fill you up and even more. Literally.
With food.
Oh my goodness. I still dream about that beef. Remember that? Oh my goodness. I need to patent that.
I can't wait to have you guys again. It'd be great.
Yeah. So, you know, we as the purpose of 28 Days of Love is just kind of give people snippets and, you know, information, something they can hold on to as they build their relationships, you know, keep their marriages strong, find the next level, or whatever the case may be. And we all have different stories. Yeah, we all have different experiences. So the idea is to get this, I'm going to say anthology, if you will, of experiences of different people. And we believe yours is awesome. We believe yours is awesome. Just knowing a little bit about your story and you as individuals.
Yeah.
So to not kind of give that away, this week's focus is iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah. And then it's definitely when you refuse to give up, you can be sharpened.
Right.
And I like to say love sharpens love.
Right.
So we're going to have Demetrius and Candace tell us a little bit about, maybe let's move on here. So do you have an established mission for your marriage and for your family?
Do we have an established mission? Gosh, we did this over the I think we said no. We didn't. We don't have an established mission
Right.
For our marriage and family, other than to what do we say? Be intentional.
Right.
So the way it has went for us since we've been married is that we basically, I guess our goal is to always try to be where God has put us to be.
Mhm.
Right.
Because we haven't been like the traditional where you stay somewhere and that's where you are. No, like our life has pretty much been live here 2-3 years and then you're on to something else. So we're
Wow.
just, as long as we're open to where
Yeah.
he wants us to be, when it's time for us to settle down, then that's when we will actually be at that place. But until then, our life has just always been what's next.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Well, that's a mission, if
yes,
you ask me.
that is a mission.
Especially being open for what's next, because one of us could say, well, I don't want to move,
Right.
or go anywhere else because I kind of like it here. But then being willing and being open, sometimes it takes a little tugging, a little pulling.
Yeah.
Because I know when we came back, I didn't want to come back to Pennsylvania yet, but Newt was like, as a matter of fact, we got to go back. And Candace was like, Kim, you got to let him decide. Yes, I was like, okay, Candace. And I did, and it was what we needed to do. What we needed.
Right. So let me get a follow-up question on that, because I think it's important for folks to hear. So you're in a place for a couple of years doing a thing, a great work, and then you feel led or called, or you move to another place, or however it happens. Does that cause any stressors?
So that depends on where that next move is.
Okay.
Because just a prime example for us right now, we have come back to Alabama, which is my hometown.
Okay.
But she's from Connecticut, and things are totally different here than Connecticut or San Diego or even Atlanta.
Right.
So there's so many challenges that can be presented in that. But other than that, I mean, I think that it's just, for one, just being that open, being that just, okay, how do we get through this together? How can we be where we're supposed to be at this time and this moment?
Oh, that's good right there. How can we get this together?
Yeah, get through this together.
So when those you want to ask that, or you want me to ask?
No, go ahead.
So when those stressors come and you're trying to figure out how to work through things together, what are your strategies? What's your go-to strategy to kind of deal with some of that conflict that might arise because you're following your mission and just doing what's natural for you?
Preferring one over the other.
Oh my goodness. See, I should have my phone. I should be typing this. Preferring one over another. I don't know. Listen, you guys, type that in the chat. Preferring one over another.
Yeah.
Man, that's a jewel right there. That's a book.
Which is definitely scriptural,
Love that.
About considering others, more than you do yourself. That's the same thing.
So is that easy, hard? I mean, is it easier now over the years you've been married, or?
I think that it comes and goes in ways. There's times where it's easier than others, and there's times when it's really challenging, like the move, like big things like a move, a cross-country move, just like you all did.
Yes.
And it was piggybacking on another stressor of the loss of my mother, which was then a piggyback right onto declining health of his mother. So you got those stressors plus a cross-country move, plus running a business. And that, you know, doesn't necessarily allow for a lot of time together to kind of overcome those hurdles. So it takes a lot of intentional connecting to know where your partner is in that, you know, roller coaster ride that you're on, and trying to come out of where you are, because they might be seeing the same thing or feeling the same thing, and just try to see it from their side for a moment. Sometimes it's a moment. Sometimes it's more. But in the big picture, that's it. Keeping an eye on the big picture. And the big picture is that we get through this life together, and that these are going to come and these are going to go. But what are we okay? Like that check. Are we okay? Are you okay? I'm not okay. You know, being honest with yourself. I'm not okay. And being able to say that to, you know, your spouse, like, I just am not okay right now. And there are times, especially since the loss of my mom, that this whole challenge has really been tough.
Right. I could imagine.
I love the fact that, you know, you said the word intentional.
Yes, that's the second time.
Because and that's definitely a part of a mission. It sounds like you guys have all the mission pieces. You're saying them. You might not have written them out, but I hear them. Being intentional, you know, preferring one over the other, you know, as long as we're together. I remember years ago telling Newt that I would live with him in Alaska.
Yeah, she did say that.
In an igloo. If we are going to do this thing together.
We have to make that thing melt, though. That bad boy.
But this is what, to me, that is what makes marriage or covenant. That's what makes it a covenant. Because I'm going to go with you. I'm going to do this. I might not like everything, but I'm willing to do this. And you had a whole lot of little things that you had to deal with, and you're still dealing with. But I say, I mean, I'm not there, but I feel like it's happening with grace. So I commend you both, you know, on that. It definitely is their character. So then let's lighten up a little bit. Tell me about what are some of the differences that you two have, and how they come together to fit like a puzzle.
You guys know us pretty well. We're pretty different. We're almost opposites, aren't we?
Certain things.
So,
well, differences, just like even we talked about, is just where we come from. Him from me being from Alabama, me being from Connecticut. That's like, you can't really get more different than that. And then coming together and meeting up in Atlanta where we met, and then moving out of Atlanta out to San Diego by faith. That jump was too. I think that Demetrius is, you know, got that tolerance for, you know, adventure and going and let's go.
I'm more of a risk taker.
And I'm more okay. Let's see where this goes. What is going to happen if we do this? What happens then? Then I kind of plan those things. So the two differences come together. Because if we were both like him, I prefer to him as the gladiator, having taken Air Force doctrine.
Of course.
He's a gladiator, so you know he'll charge out there, and you know me being in the teacher, I like want to, you know, let's study this, let's evaluate this, let's see where this is going, and then I'm kind of pulling the gladiator back a little bit. He's charging forward. So that's how we come together. He's got to realize sometimes and turn around and realize, oh, she's not with me on this. Let me circle back. And then sometimes I have to speed it up to So it's just, that's how we have to come together, is just recognize those our differences and use them to our advantage versus, you know, fighting about them.
Right.
I would probably say the biggest is she's a planner and I live by what's happening.
Wow.
So I'm more reactive to, okay, how do we get through this now? Like, this is where we are now, versus she a lot of times sees things ahead
Mhm.
of, and this is where we need to be, yada, yada, you know, things like that. So
Oh, I love that. I love that. Reactive and proactive. I love that. I love that. Those of you that are watching in the chat, there's another jewel for you. Reactive and proactive.
Mhm.
How do we make that work together?
Well, one thing for sure, it's active.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing.
Uh-huh. Well, our theme this week is iron sharpens iron,
Mhm.
right? So just to kind of ask you a question more in the lines of that theme, I'm just going to read it to you. It says, since iron sharpens iron and you are responsible to your spouse to make them aware of the areas that need to be modified or adjusted, what is the best way for you to communicate difficult things to your spouse without becoming offensive? I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, Candace, but how do you do that without being offensive? How do you do it, and then what kind of tips would you give for folks that need to do the same thing?
Well, for that one is tough, because when you're looking at your spouse and how something affects her, then it can be difficult to help through that or tell her of a certain thing. The best way I've found is, for one, how you tell it, when you tell it, and then just also doing it in a way, kind of including yourself. So say, just an example, if it was a weight issue, then versus being like, hey, you need to lose weight, it would be more like, you know what, how about we join the gym? Like, I want to do better for myself. I want you to do better. Let's do this together. Let's get a membership. Or if it's eating, like, I eat a lot of junk food. You know, she eats very healthy. So say if it was an eating thing, then it would be just kind of like that. Like, I want to start doing something else, at least just a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be a complete turnaround, but just something like, I barely eat greens, but now I eat greens. I should put a little bit on my plate. You know? And it's just gotten more and more over the years of how much greens are on my plate. So now I like them a little bit. You know?
Okay. Well, the way she cooks them, I'll take his portion.
I know that's right.
You gonna eat your greens.
But I love that to consider.
Yes.
You know, and include yourself.
Yes, his main points were how, when, and then including yourself.
Right.
Framing it from a perspective of you, so it's more absorptive than accusatory. I love that.
If you tell it at the wrong moment, like if we're having an argument and then I want to bring that up, that
so a little bit of wisdom helps too, huh?
How about for you, Candace?
Beehive. You don't want to swat the beehive.
Don't swat the beehive.
Don't swat the beehive.
So, Candace, how do you tell? How do you do that? The same thing. The same question.
Yeah, Kim, that's interesting that you spun that back on me, because Demetrius is always, anyone who knows him is super sweet and considerate, and you know, he's just darling. And I may or may not be. I'm probably more likely to speak from my emotions, to be reactive first and not think through. He's very intentional. He will not speak first until he thought something through, even through like an awkward silence. He does not care about the awkward silence. Me, I'm like, and the more the more he's silent, the more I feel I need to keep talking. And the more offensive I can become. But for me, it is to try to understand where he's coming from, what it is that how he might be looking at it. We are really addressing some challenging things, and we are struggling to understand each other. But I really feel like, you know, we're both in that position of trying to understand the other. It's tough sometimes. Most of our marriage, we've worked through things and we've always been on the same, you know, in the same track, going in the same direction, maybe not seeing everything eye to eye. But in this season, there are a lot of things that we are not seeing the same, like looking at a fish tank. He's seeing it from another side. I'm seeing something totally different, even though we're looking at the same thing. Right. And it's this, but it's this, but it's that, and it's that. And we are working through those things the best way we know how. And that is, listening. He's a good listener. I do more talking. But I think the root of it that we're trying to get to is understanding.
That's go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Huge for me. I'm misunderstood. So for me to be misunderstood, especially by him, he's my person in the world. He's the one who understands me in this world. Good, bad, ugly, the best of me, the worst of me, all of it. So if I'm being the worst of me right now, I just need him to understand, where I'm coming from. Even if his saying is, I understand, but, I can, as long as I hear that, I understand first, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be okay. I need to be understood.
Wow. You made the hair stand up on my neck when you said he's the person that understands me the most in this world.
Yeah, he's my person.
Yes, he's my person. Wow. That's a quote that should go on a billboard somewhere. That's something. I think that's something that people misunderstand about marriage, period.
Yeah.
Period. Not even, children, mother, father, none of that.
No.
She right here. That's who knows.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Honestly, Candace, I loved everything you said. And you too, Demetrius. I might be a little partial.
Me too.
but Candace, I too am very emotional. And I start understanding or processing while I'm talking about it.
Right. Me too.
Like I have to say it. If not, it's like a boiling thing. Now, there's times when I won't say anything, but it's not that it's not cooking in here.
Right.
And when it comes out, I don't know if you've ever heard the book, My Mouth is a Volcano. It's a children's book. And then when it comes out, it just, and I look, he has to laugh because honestly, if I'm afraid or I'm concerned about something and it's who moved my cheese, somebody just moved my cheese. It was right here. I could be extremely emotional and just like this, he's typing while I'm saying all this. And then he's like,
are you serious?
And then sometimes he'll go like this and be like,
because we can get some more cheese.
He just goes back to typing, Candace. And I'm like,
I know.
Like oh no, you ain't gonna answer me. Okay. So I have those. I'm telling you,
there's several things going on in my mind. What actually is the problem? What are the conditions? What can be fixed? What can't be fixed? Where's her mind, her emotions? So there's a lot of things happening inside me where I'm trying to figure out what's best to say, what's best not to say. Probably similar to what you just said, Demetrius. That's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
But
and that's key for husbands. I mean, I think that what you just said and that what you said, Demetrius, it's like critical. We need that. Where is she? Where is she emotionally?
Right.
Yeah.
And it flips. I mean, there's times when something has hit my, pushed my button.
Oh yeah.
And my button has a whole different set of reactions than hers does.
And I'll be like, you're like a Southern belle.
When my volume starts turning up, it's a different level of heat, inside me. So I need her at the same time to be able to get me to pinpoint on that one thing.
Yeah.
That I have to say,
that part, what you said.
Okay.
Yeah. A few years ago, God gave me the way to look at the word understanding. And it was under you I stand.
Oh, wow.
And it was for me in God that I don't have to sit, but under you I can still stand and be who I am.
Right.
And so even in our marriage, is just like how he created, his marriage to the church. It's the same thing. And so I apply that here, that under Newt I stand, and I expect that he is protecting and understanding how I'm feeling, and me the same way.
Right.
So I love the fact that if you mentioned that if I just can hear, I understand.
Yes.
That right there is key. So for those of you listening, I know you're hearing that, but these are some key words here.
That's the medicine.
Definitely. Because if you can just take a minute and understand what your spouse is going through, or look at them and remember when you see them and they're being the volcano that I have been, remember who you married,
right,
and understand and know this, that there's something going on.
Right.
There's something being stirred up, and I need to find out what it is.
And we're almost at time, but I do you opened up a can of worms. So I want to ask you this question to kind of close that can of worms, and then we want to give you a chance to have a final word.
Tell us about your business and all that too.
A final word where you can do a couple things. You can leave a tip for anyone that will listen that you don't think we covered, and tell us something about some of the things you're doing, what's going on, what you do, so people can know how awesome you are. Fair enough? So the question that I have for you, and you kind of pushed us in this direction, is so what do you do for each other to ensure that you're both growing individually? Because you mentioned those separate sides and how he reacts to you. You mentioned all those things. So what intentionally you do to help each other grow individually?
Well, I from the perspective of just like a difference in, like, say she might be into concerts or something like that versus I'm into Alabama football, things like that. If we're talking about that perspective, then I think it's just allowing people or your spouse to be free, allowing them to do the things that they actually enjoy. But then also being able to do the things and making the time to do the things that you guys can do together. So like right now we watch Yellowstone, which is right now the season's off. So that's kind of bad, but it'll come back, but we watched it on Peacock and all that stuff, but just making that time. So even when I'm away, she won't watch it until I come home, and then we will sit down and we will watch it together.
That's nice. That's sweet.
So,
and that's just one small way, again, in connection, and it can lead into what we do that requires us to have to be that intentional about connecting on things. But helping each other grow is like understanding our weak, like, again, back to knowing each other well, understanding where those weaknesses are, where those buttons are, pushing where there needs to be push and encouragement. Also reining in, like a lot of times it's to rein me in, reining in a little bit, and it comes and goes for both of us. So if it's whether it's being a career change or a anything, you just do it the same way. What is it that you're interested in? Staying in connection, staying present, even if it's distance, even if your spouse travels. So our business is an athletic flooring installations, is to roll into that. And you can, by doing that, Demetrius goes all over the country and even has been international with it. So we have to make time. And sometimes it's phone call. Sometimes it's, reading. What did you read today? What are you doing today? Just being very checking in and not just flying through it, like, oh, hey, this quick check-in, but really, checking in. And knowing that when that person needs that check-in. So, and then when you are together, like, okay, it's Yellowstone time, we have to turn off all the phones. We have to, just connect in that. Journaling is something new that we added this year. Writing in it, and then he'll write in it. It's a couple's journal, but I love to look for your journal too, Kim, and to see.
Okay, sure.
Because I've never done it, but it's neat because it's got promptings in it that we wouldn't necessarily talk about.
Okay. I like that. I love that.
That is so cool.
Yeah, we've been talking about things.
Well, you're mentioning things. We started that, remember, with
Right.
the covenant book,
Right.
where that would happen, but we didn't finish it. So look here, there's a little fire you put under us.
Right. Yes.
Finish it.
We have to get you guys back to just talk. Hopefully we can visit you and just talk about you to talk a little bit more about how you connect and keep everything together from a distance.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That's a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
I so admire that about you two. That's a whole nother level of commitment and covenant and discipline and love. It is it's amazing. But that's a whole nother topic.
But that's how we are sharpened,
right?
By hearing these stories from other people, to share some things, to let us know we can stretch ourselves a little bit further.
Right.
And what Candace and Demetrius has shared tonight, I feel like it just gave me some little ideas of things that we could do, waiting and watching a certain show.
Right.
That was a great idea. And then making sure that your spouse really understands and says that to you when you're having that little, that wife meltdown, or he's having that little meltdown, or whatever is happening, and being intentional, being present. Those were some of the words we heard tonight.
Yes.
Those are things that I feel like are woo.
And I like that how, when, and reflected and from your perspective, not absorbing, not accusing. I love that. I'm gonna bite that one. That one's in my. That one I'm gonna use. I need that one. I need that one.
Just find the cheese, Newt. Just find the cheese.
Find my cheese.
Listen, I just go buy some more. I go get 2 packs. That way, if you lose one. Listen, we loved having you on. Any last? So you kind of blended everything I asked in that one.
No, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about, just a little bit about. Tell us, what you do. Tell us about it.
Here you go.
Yeah,
I love that part. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we install fitness equipment and athletic flooring. That is what we have done for the past. Well, I've been in the industry for over 20 years now.
Wow.
And beyond that, so I'm the president of the company. She is the vice president of the company. But I go out and I install. She does everything else. So it's really and truly it's her, and then I do my part. But it's really her. Like once people come contact us, then they figure out that I'm the guy out there. But for everything else, you want to talk to Candace. Like she's gonna get everything done. She's the one that makes the company smooth. She's the one that helps us to be compliant with everything that we have going on. It's really, she is the one that promotes us, that promotes our brand, that promotes everything about us. It's her.
Wow. So Candace, when can we get together and you can do a quick series of master classes for folks?
Okay.
Whenever.
Because I'm telling you that right there.
Yes.
So you guys heard it. If you're looking for someone to come and put a gym floor in, or I know
your company, your school, your apartment building, tell them a guy. I got a guy.
And your sons. We know somebody who does
big H.
Yes, the big H.
Yes.
He did it done for you. And he travels all over. I remember him going to Japan.
Yeah, was it Japan or China? It was China, wasn't it?
China.
Right.
Like, Lord have mercy.
We can move over Japan.
But that's right. You go over Japan to go to China, right?
Go. Yeah. And the fact that they did it, what they do, they started out by faith. And so I just appreciate so much.
Yes.
All right. I know we're over time.
We gotta go. Thank you, Candace and Demetrius. We are so honored to call you friends and that you call us friends. We're so honored. Thank you for coming in for 28 days.
We're honored. We love you.
We love you.
Honor is ours.
I don't know about that.
Well, we're going to share this here together. We're honored too.
All right. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. We love you. Thank you for tuning in and joining us for the first day of 28 Days of Love. There's 27 more to go. So come on and get with us on
Facebook.
I thought she was with me. I was going to say 28
okay.
days.
Well, you almost got ready.
28 days of love.
Okay. God bless you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow where we have the straw bridges. Get ready.
All right. Launch 360 Ministries
With Kim
and Dr. New presents 28 Days of Love.
February 1st through the 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Our theme this year is Love Sharpens.
When you refuse to give up. Coming soon are our special guests.
We'll have something for everyone, married or single,
February 1st, 28th.
at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And for our first week,
A love that sharpens.
our special guests are Demetrius and Candace Henderson
A power couple of entrepreneurs.
from Alabama by way of San Diego.
Day 2.
Jonathan and Cindy Strawbridge.
He's a little bit country.
And she's a native New Yorker.
These two kingdom builders have tons of jewels to offer us.
Yes. And they're business minded.
Don't want to miss it.
Oh, and the date night.
Friday night.
Every Friday night, you get to sharpen
Your
your
love
love tools. Then there's Saturday.
That's covenant time. Just the two of us.
Don't forget Sunday.
That's the intimacy of worship.
We can worship together. Join us. We'll be live every night.
On our Facebook channel, Launch with Kim and Dr. Newt, and YouTube Live, Launch 360 TV. Join us for 28 Days of Love.
Because love sharpens.
When you refuse to give up.